You better get moving. I'm giving you a half an hour, then I'm coming to catch you. And here we go. Welcome back. Today we're going to be going on a little walk. Well, a long walk. We're going to see some amazing scenery. We're going to do a little searching, and I'm going to show you some of the characteristics when I'm looking for a site to hunt artifacts. And it's just hard to tell what else we'll get into. Now, I gave Rocky about 45 minutes head start. I told him a half an hour, but I gave him 45 minutes because he's not in very good shape. He thinks he is, he says he is, but he's been training all week for this. But the most he's ever made is like 3.5 hours. This is gonna be all day. I drew him out a map and sent him on his way with a bunch of water in a pack. We'll catch him. Here's the first thing I want to show you. If you don't have a river or some place to look for artifacts, you can almost always find these. Right along this road, there's a field above. Has to be a flat area, but they've cut this road right through along the edge of this hillside. And along that field, it's got this lip that they cut down about 6-7 feet high. And you can find stuff where they've cut that field laying on the banks here. Now in the wintertime, you can look at it because it's usually dirt like this. But here pretty soon, we won't be able to look this because it's gonna all grow up with weeds. So if you have roadside cuts that cut through a field, go check them. I have one right down here that I've found flint a lot on, but never a point. We're gonna check it today because it's been like a year since I've checked it. I can guarantee you a lot of natives lived down in that field along this creek over the last several thousand years. If they ever plowed that, it's hard to tell what you'd find in there. I'm checking this bank below this field here. You can see where they've cut the road right through the field. I got something laying out over here. There was a couple fired stones right back there. I don't have a whole lot of time to look. We can't let Rocky get too far ahead. There's something that's sticking out. I found flint flakes here before, but never a point. And we got one sticking out right here. I have found a bunch of flakes in here, but I haven't checked it for a year. Look right over here. Our first point of this roadside. I can see it sticking out right there, look. I don't know how big it is. Oh. It's got a busted tip off of it, or the base. It's well made. Look at that. It's made on a like a flat piece of flint because it still has the cortex or the rind of the stone on there. But unfortunately, with that base busted off, hard telling how old that is. I'm gonna check a little bit more of this, and then we got to get moving. I checked the rest of it over real quick, but I only found like 2 little tiny flakes. Look at this. Can you imagine how many people over the last few thousand years have fallen down off of there and killed themselves? It's just a cliff all the way along this road. I'll bet you a bunch of people have fallen over that in time. Got hurt or killed themselves. I wanted to show you this, but the water's high and you can't see the gravel bar. But normally, there's a gravel bar right down here on the inside of this turn. And if you have a large creek like this, you want to look for those gravel bars. And if you're wondering where all these gravel bars are, there should be 2 main gravel bars on a long turn like this. You have a straight over there that comes around the turn, and then it starts straight again here. Now you would think when the water's up that it would throw all the gravel and heavy stuff to the outside and you'd find it on the outside. But that ain't true. everything that falls out of this field in a flood, it'll gather on the inside, right at the beginning of the turn and right at the end of the turn. That's where all the heavy stuff will fall out, on the inside, not the outside. It's just like gold prospecting. That's where you find most of your gold too. Well, this creek was really high. The river's way up. You can see down here how it's got that bank eat away. There's probably artifacts all through these fields here. And I would like to go down there and look through those gravels, but I ain't taking no chance on falling in that water, in that slimy mud. Look like they're pulling the rods and tubing out of this old well here. I've been on that crew one time. I helped a guy do that to an old well. I think it was 1,800 feet under the ground. A lot of pipe. This would be a good creek to hunt right here. Goes all through this flatland. People still living around here. Look at all them gravel bars. That's where you want to search in those creeks, but you got to walk slow. There's so many gravel, it's hard to distinguish a point. What's this guy wanting? No, I'm walking, man. How you been, Jim? Getting along? Yeah. You remember me?
I remember the face now. I can't remember now.
Worked at Valley Steel, Scott.
Okay.
Back in '90s. Yeah. All right, thanks anyway, Jim. Friendly people, I knew him. Just to show you this, I mean, no creek is too small. If you have a little creek like this, a little small run, you see how it's ate away that bank and them stones sticking out there? It snakes around here, and these creeks change directions all the time. That'd be a good place to check. We're about to start the first of several major climbs here. This route is not flat at all. Almost to the top. There's a road goes up on top of that hill right there. When we were in high school, we made this big giant pipe bomb. I ain't proud of that. Don't ever do that stuff. I drilled a hole in it for the fuse, and 4 of us drove a car up there. And my buddy, he was going to let it off. He was the brave one. But we didn't have no fuse. So he figured, well, let's just put a little bit of gasoline on it and make a little trail about 3 feet, and we'll just light the gasoline. It'll go over and then set the bomb off, right? So the rest of us were looking outside the windows in the back of the car where he was behind the car. As soon as he lit that gasoline, well, you know how fast gasoline goes up. It was whoo! He just got turned around when that thing went off. And I'll tell you, like, it was if you've never heard a hand grenade go off, it's a massive explosion. The back of the car lifted a little bit. You could feel it. And he come running around. It was in the middle of the night, holding his leg, and the blood was just running down his leg. So we rushed him to the hospital, and they said a little piece of shrapnel about half the size of your pinky nail went clear into his bone. Couldn't get it out of there. They just left it in there. Whew. The stupid things you do when you're young. 4.31 miles so far. There's a long straight stretch up here. We might be able to see Rocky, but seeing we're only 5 miles in, I don't know. Dang, that's a half a mile straight stretch right there, and I still don't see him. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. Rocky went this way. Look at this. Rocky's wallet. I bet he didn't zip up his, he probably got a drink, didn't zip it up. Junk's falling out. That's him, because right there's the Chick-fil-A card I got him. $1, Rocky, come on. Hey, check this out. Rocky found an arrowhead. It's kind of beat up, Where'd he get that? He probably found it in that cut area where we got ours. Figured he wasn't gonna find two one day. We'll hold on to this, give him a little scare. Let him sweat it out. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That goober! Look at this! Rocky's map. You gotta be kidding me, man. I hope he went the right way at this fork. Surely he knows we're going this way. Surely. Somebody's around, I would ask him if they saw him. Man, that guy would lose his brain if it wasn't attached, I tell you. Wow, that creek was all the way up here over this road. Look at the mud. Clegg's Adventures 1 to Clegg's Adventures 2. Come in, Rocky. Over.
And I'm putting it on the rig and to the right.
Oh, great. He's totally out of range. I could barely hear him. I got a 1.5 mile range on this and I could barely hear him breaking up. Getting attacked here. Vicious. Watch it now, don't get brave. When this water's low in the summertime, you can actually take a four-wheeler down that bank over there, and this is all bedrock under here. You can go out on that little island in the middle. Found a really nice bottle out there. We're about to go off the beaten path, and I know the water's been up over this. It's like a side-by-side four-wheeler trail, unmaintained. I just hope it's not so muddy that we can't get through. And it doesn't look that bad so far. I know one thing for sure, Rocky didn't come this way, as I don't see any footprints in this mud. I hope he didn't get lost. This might turn into a search and rescue. I spoke a little bit too soon on that mud situation. Good thing I got these Hoka Moon shoes on. Wow, that was nasty getting through there, but I didn't fall down. It's a little bit higher here, the water didn't get up to it. Here we got a mudslide and a big tree across the road. Wow, this mud's awful. It smells really good, that oak. You can smell it. I guarantee you that was natives all over in there. I see a little structure there. It looks like a mound. I don't know if you can see it. If I can zoom this footage up, it looks like a little mound in there. Might be. Small. Wait till summer times we come back and we can check these gravel bars right here. Well, that sure looks like a mound. I mean, you'd be surprised at how many small mounds there are around in the area here. If you watch Dig Dug, Artifacts and Adventures, he goes around and he makes shorts sometimes of all these mounds. Sometimes you'll find them in people's yards and everything. Warning, road impassable ahead. Man, you got that right. Wow, what a mess. Now, how are we going to get across this without getting our feet all wet? Well, we had to hike up a little bit so we wouldn't get our feet wet, but we made it. Now we got to get up over this bank to the road. Made it back on track. That looks like some good gravel bars down in there. And normally I don't hunt between two hills, but this has got a flat up in the middle of it. I gotta get something to eat. I brought peanut butter sandwiches. Extra peanut butter. Think they got any junk? Got a dang fortune in scrap metal. Anybody ever see a mushroom that looks like this? Look at this. I never seen anything like that. What are we at? 11.69 miles so far. It's a rugged climb to the top here, and it's a long one. Man, somebody built a cabin up in here. Definitely secluded, that's for sure. Nice and quiet out here. What a climb, we made it. Here's an old cemetery here. Let's check this out. Looks real old. Wow, there's some old ones. Jesse Tuttle, born in 1820. Old-fashioned sawmill. Man, the blade's got to be 4 foot diameter, and they're still using that. There's an oldie. Let's check this church out. Wow, this thing's old now. Listen. Thought I heard something. Wow, look at the graffiti. Wonder when this place was built. It's old for sure. Had an old wood stove right in the middle. You can tell how old this is. It's all built up on cut stones and beams. Man, couldn't you imagine it back in the day? Probably 100 years ago. People would have been all parked out there with their horse and buggy, gathering after church services. What a sight, huh? Let's get the heck out of here. Beautiful country out here, that's for sure. She's all boarded up. Holy crap, we made it up that hill. A lot of farming around here and sawmilling. I will ask this old German farmer here if he's seen Rocky. Where's he going? Yo, Sven! Sven!
Hey, wie geht's? Was machst du? Irrheit suchen?
Ja, ja. Bisschen. Spazieren, forschen. Hast du heute Rocky gesehen?
Ja, gestern war hier. Kommt jeden Tag Abendessen.
Ah, scheiße. Ich suche Rocky. Den ganzen Tag.
Ach so, viel Glück.
Okay. Tschüss. He hasn't seen him. He definitely didn't come this way. I thought he might have took that road back there by the creek where we had to go through the mud. I thought he may have cut that short or something, but it don't look like he did. Looked like Rocky cheated or got tired and went straight for town. I'll find him. I know where he's at probably. I think Rocky just goes, I don't think he ever eats dinner at home. I think he goes and visits somebody each night of the week and eats dinner. Except on Sundays. Sunday just kind of hangs around the house unless I get him to do something. That guy says he comes out there 2-3 times a week. I think he's chasing after that guy's daughter is what I think. That German girl. Right now we're on top of the mountain here above the earthworks at Ben's Run site. If you watch that video, and it's all been destroyed by farming, but there are some ruins in the hills that I took you to there. Let's see if we can see the site though, at least. Captain, permission to float the buoy. Float the buoy. Like I say, that's all been destroyed. It was documented in 1927, and they said you could still see some of the walls that went around there. They weren't what you think of as a wall. They were just mounds of dirt, you know, that extended around, and they just made them real long. There was 2 of them, 120 feet apart, I believe it was, running parallel all the way around that 400 acres. They said there was over 8 miles of wall like that. And you figure, a mound of dirt 15 feet high, it had to been at least 20 feet wide. And they all did that by hand. How long would that have taken? 8.5 miles of piling dirt up 15 feet high. Wow, that would have been incredible to see. You gotta figure they just had baskets to carry it and little simple digging tools, flint tools or whatever they made to dig it. It would have taken years. Either that or they had a lot of people there. And what do you think that was for anyways, you know? Those 2 walls that were running parallel like that. It had to have been for protection. Had to have been for protection. Maybe it was it was the Adena culture, so maybe it was made in the later part when the Hopewell were moving in. And nobody knows what happened to these people. Maybe there was some kind of a religion change from the Adena to the Hopewell. Maybe there was wars going on. because the river doesn't get up that high, so you know it wasn't for floods. It had to have been protection. Somebody come across that first mound, they got to cross no man's land without getting a dart to the head. That's all it could have been. We can only imagine, only imagine. Everybody coming to see what's going on. They don't get many visitors out here. As soon as I see a decent creek that's not all full of water, I knew where there's one that I've been wanting to look. It's still got about 5 miles to go to get to it, but it's right by the road, and it's usually, it's a little small run, but it's usually not overflowed with water. 'Cause I can't get my feet wet. You'll get blisters. Here's one of those insect traps. They don't know what it is. Must be expecting something, another like the emerald ash boring beetle. Killed every ash tree around. There's none left. Probably some other invasive species coming in, like the stink bugs or the ladybugs. We get those every fall. Here we are at another crossroads. Ah, my. We're still going. I felt I should check in, let you know the distance. We're at 20.58 miles. Whew. My legs are starting to feel it a little bit. But death before DNF. You know, I've never had any luck looking these creeks that are right along the hillside. You know, you'd have had to have somebody living right at the bottom of the hill. Find something in there, it's probably going to be washed down from above. Those ones that go through the middle here, you find a lot of stuff in them. This road looks a lot longer when you're walking. I had to take a little rest, but I did check some of this little run. This is a nice run right here. It cuts through all this flat. I got something right here. Now it ain't great. I'll come back and check this sometime, maybe ask the guy if I can walk it more, but there's got to be better stuff in here. I want you to look at this. Where's it at? Here, right there's that's some old glassware there. Right here, see that? Slimy. That ain't bad. It's nothing great or anything. It's all sharpened down. Probably an old sharpened down Hopewell. I don't know, it looks like it was used as a blade. Pretty crude. We're gonna have to come back out here sometime and see if we can check all this. I just can't do it right now. We got to keep moving. Now we lost 15 minutes to searching. Hey, well, we did get something there. I had to check it a little bit more. You just never know. I've been in creeks and said 1 more minute, and that 1 minute I found something real nice. You just never know. Little story. My grandfather grew up in that house. If you can see it way up in there. It's just about destroyed now. and his dad grew up in that house. As a matter of fact, my great-great-grandfather is buried up on top of the hill here in a small cemetery. But he told me when he was a boy and growing up, this was all clear. There was no woods. On both sides was just clear all the way over. I got pictures of it. My grandpa was the youngest of 12. He was born in 1924. And he told me when he was a boy in the 30s that him and his dad and two of his older brothers were up on top of the hill. They had an orchard up there. And right down along the side of the hill, they found this little hole, like an opening. So they thought it was a skunk in there. Now back in the 30s, my grandpa said, if you didn't grow it or you didn't raise it, you just didn't eat. People starving. He couldn't get any money. He said his dad, he said you couldn't get your hands on a dime. So they were up there, and what they thought that was a skunk hole. So his two brothers, they're going to dig it out of there and get the fur, because you can get a little money for fur, skunk fur, right? So they started digging back in the hill, and they said the hole opened up a little bit, got a little bit bigger. And they dug back, like he said, 12, 15 feet back in this hillside, trying to get that dang skunk. But when they got back in there, they found this round stone. He said it was about the size of a small beach ball, probably 18 to 20 inches in diameter. He said his dad and the boys, they wrestled that thing down to the house and they took a pickaxe. He said his brother wanted to see what was inside of it. Like, I don't know what he expected to get in there. He said they beat on it for a few hours and finally it broke in two perfect halves. And he said it was real heavy. He told me it was a meteorite, which I don't have any other explanation for something up on the top of that hill and a round sphere ball like that. You just don't get that around here. Only thing you get around here is these sandstones, that's it. And he said it was a meteorite. And he said that his dad used a half of it to weight the plow down, the horse plow. He don't know what happened to the other half. But that's been confirmed before several people pass away to me that that's a true story. And he said it's, well, I'm not going to say, but he told me where it's at. And I went up there and he was telling me around the garden, the locust posts from probably 90 years ago were still there. And he told me exactly where it was at around that garden. So I know what's up there. But when I went up there, it's been several years ago, it's so grown up with briars, you can't even get through. Maybe if you had a probe and probed around, you might hit it or something. But you ain't swinging no metal detector or picking it up off the ground. And my grandpa said his dad told him, when I'm gone, this will all go to woods and filth. And it did. Grew up. My grandpa also said that along that hill down there, going up to the house, that there was a petroglyph carved in the stone in the side of the hill there. I went up there a few years ago. There's moss all over the stones. I was pulling it off, but I couldn't find it. Probably never find it. Yeah, if you still have your grandparents, make sure you write all this stuff down so you can pass it on, what was like back then, all the stories, because 3 generations later you're forgotten about. We're almost to the top of this hill. We're getting close to town now. Good thing, because I'm gonna have to stop and get something to drink. And I think I might know where to find Rocky. Find out what happened to that guy. Typical road in West Virginia. We made it down to the highway. This highway runs along the Ohio River. I can still see the river down there is up and brown muddy. Wow, you can see how much the river has backed up here into the golf course. The river's just behind the clubhouse there, between there and the hill over in Ohio. That's gonna ruin that golf course right there. All that mud left behind. He hangs around here a lot. He might be here. I'll ask Buddy here. Hey, you seen Rocky?
He was here earlier. We was cooking out on the grill. He ate about 4 hamburgers, had a Diet Coke. And I don't know who it was that stopped by here. I think he was supposed to be heading to Martinsville or something.
I've been looking everywhere for him. I'm gonna head out. He's probably back at the house waiting on me.
He didn't seem like he was wrapped too tight.
He ain't wrapped tight at all.
Good luck.
Oh man, all right. I'll let you know if I find him. He said he stopped by there and had 4 hamburgers and a Coke. Some dude picked him up. I knew he got a ride. He's probably at the house waiting on me. Park's all flooded. Look at that. They just started cleaning that junk up too, and it hit again. I'm about starved. I got a Coke, a Gatorade, and chili Cheetos. Oh, best tasting Coca-Cola ever had. I was just walking by here looking at these sandstones on the side of the road, and I noticed something. Look at this. Coast Joe, I don't know, a survey company, 1957. Fine or imprisonment for disturbing this. Huh. I don't know what that goes to. Surveyed something. Unless that's a landmarker, corner of a landmarker. I don't know. Look at that coal seam right there. West Virginia coal. All these cows coming down here. They must think I'm gonna feed them or something. Must be dinner time for them. I don't have nothing. Here they come. Rawhide. We're about to climb the final mountain of the day. We got about 2.5 miles maybe left. Let's do the check. We're at 34.08 miles. Oh my goodness. We got about 1 more mile to go. Oh my gosh, and I got a blister the size of a silver dollar. Other than that, my legs are a little sore, not bad. I think I could do 40 miles, maybe more if I got a better pair of socks or figure out something for these blisters. I see my house, about a half mile to go. Wow, we walked all the way around this. Woo, long ways. Unit 1 to Unit 2, come in Rocky, over.
I lost my wallet and my arrowhead.
Don't worry, buddy. I got you covered. 10-4.
I wanted to make it all the way, but I really...
Sorry, I done 10-4'd you. What of you? You come back now. I'm tired. See you on the next one.